What's up, guys? MTGT Dirt Farmer here. If my beard looks a little darker, that's because it's covered with dirt. So anyways, what we're doing today is we're back out seeding again. We were done for about 3 weeks, but then our chickpeas in this field, you can see they never really came up. Go kind of around the whole thing here. Yeah, they never really popped up. So what we figured probably happened was either between the cold or the seed we had, it just didn't grow. We did have a couple cold days there, and so we thought maybe the seeds got a little moldy and then they never sprouted. And the seed we had was actually from a few years ago, and it did get a little wet, so it was kind of moldy anyways to begin with. Not the best stuff. We had it in the bin. We weren't going to sell it. It wasn't worth much, so we figured we'd try to put it in the ground. We knew this might happen, so it's not the end of the world, but we did have to go get more seed today because this is irrigated ground out here, and we do want to have a crop on the irrigated ground. So then we'll kind of run through some of the settings we're doing here. We're going pretty slow. See if you guys can see that, about 4.1 miles an hour, just because we are putting a bunch of product down. We're putting about 150-ish pounds per acre down. You can see it's kind of around 140 on that little monitor, but he's not 100% accurate. And then also no fertilizer with this. We already had fertilizer we did when we planted the first round of chickpeas about a month ago. So there's actually still fertilizer in the ground. If we go dig in the ground, we can actually see some of the fertilizers still in there. So we didn't have to buy more of that. That's kind of nice. But hopefully this all goes pretty smoothly. So then for things that we have to reseed, we've got 125 acres out here of chickpeas we're gonna do. And then way down there on that other pivot, we've actually got another 125 acres of triticale. We might have to reseed. We're still kind of keeping an eye on all of that, see if it comes up or not. So we're kind of waiting to see how that ends up going. So what happened to our triticale was we've had like 30 to 50 mile an hour winds for the last 2 weeks here in Montana. And the triticale was just kind of barely starting to come out of the ground. It was pretty short, and it sort of just got sawed off and sandblasted by all the dirt blowing. But today it looked like it was kind of starting to grow back a little bit, so hopefully over the next few days it'll pop back out of it and we don't have any wild winds, so that it can get a chance to grow again, because we don't want to have to buy more seed for that too. So back out here in the big old 320 acre field of spring wheat. We ran out of chickpeas to finish that job, so I'm going to be finishing up my other job, which is the liquid fertilizer spraying. So if you guys missed the liquid fertilizer spreading video, you can go check that out on the channel too. But it's just an absolutely gorgeous day again out here in Montana. Little bit of wind, not too bad. And go see what all the neighbors' cows are doing out there too. We're spraying right next to them. Maybe a little liquid fertilizer gets out in their pasture there and helps the grass grow, because it's pretty short right now. I feel pretty bad for all the ranchers around us. It's going to be a very tough year for guys with cows. So something we didn't get covered in the first video for the liquid fertilizing, you can see there's nothing coming out of that boom, and that's because we're using the section control right now. So I have the right side in the middle turned off, that's why those switches are down, and then just the little piece right there is on, so just most of that left side boom is actually on right now. The reason we're doing that is because we're kind of at the end here, and we don't want to double spray too much with the liquid fertilizer, just so we don't burn the crop down. But yep, so that's why we're only using part of the boom right now, and that's kind of how that works. Some things have automatic section control on them, ours does not, but it still has the manual, so, and that would be a 3-section section control. Heading out to the sprayer this morning. I about lost a wheel last night, so I'm out here with the service pickup boss man's coming out with a little tractor. We're gonna get the wheel pulled off of it, and I'll show you guys what's broken when I get out there too. So if you look at this tire from this direction here, you can see it's not exactly straight. So what happened was, our bolts and everything are okay on the outside of the tire here. You can see that sunlight, it just kind of cracked out this wheel extension we have in here for the outside dual. So we're gonna get this tire, outside tire, pulled off, finish all our liquid fertilizer spraying with just one tire on here, and then we'll fix it another day when we got a little more time. Well, it's a little different setup. We got duals on one side and singles on the other here. A little bit easier. See where it's all broke out now here. So you can see this stuff's actually been broken for a little while. It's kind of rusted and stuff, and the only spot it's actually broke new is all that shiny part. So it's actually been broken for quite a while, and we just never noticed it. But I don't think it would have made it much longer. You can see there's another spot with a new crack in it. Anyways, we're gonna finish up our liquid fertilizer. We've only got, probably another 200 acres or so left. So we'll get all that done. Once I get a ride back out here to the field, we don't need a pickup sitting out in the middle of the field. So anyways, yeah, we'll have a video probably when we fix that thing one of these days too. So we're roading down with the last load of liquid fertilizer. We got a pretty nice little shot up here. Air seeder sitting out here with the pivot going in the background. Man, that is just a gorgeous shot right there. Yeah, like to see that. Pivot's watering away, so we'll at least have a little bit of crop to cut this year. We'll see what happens for the rest of the fields that don't have irrigation, but windy again today. Nice 30-40 mile an hour gusts. But nice thing is, we got the pivot on today, just watering away. On the triticale right now, it's kind of coming up. We were thinking we might have to reseed it. That's why I'm standing inside the air seeder right now. But it looks like it's starting to come up. Just needed a little warmer weather to get going. We were pretty cold there for a while. So we think it's gonna be all okay now. The reason I'm standing inside the air seeder though, is we lost a bolt right here the other day. So we shoved a piece of ready rod through it. That seemed to work good enough, but I'm gonna replace it with an actual bolt now, because it's pretty important, one of the mainframe bolts on this thing. So we'd like to keep as many of the mainframe bolts on the machine as possible. So don't need it falling apart, but yeah, just another absolutely crazy windy day. At least it's pretty warm out, so that's not too bad. But it's, well, you can see sort of over the top of the 1 ton there. Neighbor's field's blowing pretty bad over there. It's kind of tough to see, but so other than the wind, it's another pretty nice day. So anyways, I'm gonna get this thing fixed, and then I'm gonna take the tractor and air seeder back home. So about 8 mile little trip there. Not too bad, but get him back to the yard, and then we can start working on him, get him all ready for fall seeding.